Morning team, welcome to another video. I know I look horrendous, please don't judge me. It's not how I normally exist. Today is currently Thursday. I have my next Guinness World Record attempt starting around about midday Saturday down in Exeter. So myself and Danny are going to head down tomorrow. So today I thought I would basically showcase to you what I do on the run-up and basically what my kind of like deload and prep would look like. And being kind of a fairly avid biohacker, there's a few things I've got in my back pocket to hopefully kind of just speed up recovery a little bit last minute and make sure I'm kind of nice and prepped, because 24 hours of sled pushing is not particularly fun. Obviously the first thing you've just seen, kicking the day off as I always do, with some unflavoured electrolytes. I intermittent fast, so I don't eat until kind of 1 PM, 1:30. So having kind of electrolytes in the morning are a great way to kind of supplement that particular protocol. So that is what I've done. And now it is, sometimes it's just gone 8 AM. The first thing I'm going to be doing is putting a t-shirt on, which I think that's the primary kind of socially accepted part of my process now. And then I'm heading over to Elliot's, a buddy of mine who has the ice bath that I used to have. So I'll be jumping in there. He actually texted me yesterday saying it's got more ice in it than he's ever seen, which is terrifying, because yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago I got in there and it was 1 degree. So it'll be interesting to see if it's even colder now. So, electrolytes in the bag, ice bath next. What are you doing, Elliot?
I'm trying to break the ice away from the side of the ice bath.
Was that because we might have left it on too long and it's like
A little bit too long.
basically an ice block?
And now I can't feel my arm.
So this is normally sitting around, I don't know, a couple of degrees, but the difference between a couple of degrees and pretty much zero is distinct in terms of pain. So there's an incredible amount of ice stuck to the panels.
Oh god.
And we just put the thermometer gun thing in it, and it basically said 0.0, and then it came up with a minus sign. So we're going to leave it open for a minute because the ice is not particularly good for the panels, and I'm scared to get in. Look at the thickness of that. Woo! This is going to suck. Right, bro, you feeling good?
I'm feeling something.
Feeling something. Mate, great work. How is it compared to how you thought?
It's not as bad, but it's bad.
It is bad. And the funny thing is, we do this like numerous times a week, but we left it on too long. Basically, it was my fault because I was supposed to come here yesterday and turn it off, and I didn't. Hence the reason there's like enormous flipping ice chunks in there.
It's good though.
It's good. It's good. Definitely the coldest you've ever done?
Definitely.
Great. What a day for me to show you how much of a pussy I am by now screaming. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of context, I'll show you this now. This is the temperature gun, right? So, a couple of seconds on here. Minus 1.8. So basically, it's below freezing. So obviously there's huge chunks of ice in there. The funny thing is, the whole thing, this is literally my fault for not coming in yesterday and turning it off. Damn it, but Elliot's warmed it up a little bit. I've procrastinated enough. I think it's my go. Get in. The feet, so I don't really struggle with the breathing in here, but it's the pain in the feet, it's the pain in the hands. Genuinely does feel as though it's the first time, but it's a minor something, man. It's crazy.
I'm genuinely just a bit worried about my cameraman skills as my my arms
You are
shaking a bit.
Ice bath done and in the bag. It is now 12:30. I've come back, I've done a little bit of work. I've chilled out and I'm now going to break my fast because I've got a call at 1. So I've got to be quick in the same way that I always do, which is with athletic greens. If you know anything about me and you care, you'll know this already. So the best flipping tasting green shake in the world. It ain't cheap, I'm not going to lie, but for me, multivitamin, multi-mineral, prebiotic, probiotic, green shake all in one. I'll take that for 70 quid a month, which again is extortionate. Well, it's not extortionate, you get what you pay for. But it is flipping amazing, I love it. I just feel kind of like I'm perked up with energy and I have an amazing association now. And it's so ingrained in my habits, it would feel weird to kind of break my fast or anything else. So quick shake of this, and then I'm going to eat 17 million eggs, as usual. Amazing, flipping it, every single day. Amazing at making green shakes and terrible at making bottles. It leaks all the time, it's so annoying. But I'm so much of a habitual animal, I can't find the courage or the mental fortitude to make it in a different bottle. Athletic greens, a little bit of water, I quite like it. I don't really want to fill this up, I quite like it fairly strong. But again, kind of making sure that I keep my vitamins and kind of micronutrition nice and high. Approaching a world record obviously is absolutely key. It's a long one. It's probably about 48 hours from now that we'll be starting a 24-hour sled push. So I need to be healthy and just making, obviously there's nothing I can do now to make myself stronger as such, but just keeping kind of everything in my physiology and my immune system and my nervous system and stuff kind of bolted together. Over the next few days, like self-management over the next few days might just kind of keep everything bolted together, whereas in another universe, sliding doors moment, it might just kind of all fall apart. Self-management is key, and it's these tiny little kind of hacks that I'm sharing with you in the course of this video that are kind of the basis for what kind of helps me hopefully keep in as much of a tip-top shape as I can be at the grand old age of 34. So we've had electrolytes this morning, we've had the ice bath, breaking my kind of intermittent fasting with some athletic greens. I'll have some lunch in a minute, and then let's see what else the day has in store for me. Okay, so it is currently 10 to 4 in the PM, obviously, and I have in my Mr. Strong, it's obviously got to be my Mr. Strong mug. I have my next biohack / recovery tool of the day, and that is my bone broth. So this is from the Australian Bone Broth Company. I've been lucky enough to be supported by Rob and the team from there for a while now. The jars are like this, so basically it's just like a gelatin style, a little bit more detail for you. Kind of consistency, big heaped spoonful because I need to double dose because we're putting some pressure on my tendons over the next couple of days. And then just mix it with hot water, as you've seen there. So this stuff is absolutely game changing. Again, I've been lucky enough to kind of be supported by these guys for a while now, and it has been game changing. And this is one of the reasons why I feel unbelievably kind of healthy. The theory behind this stuff is, the practice behind it is, there are kind of amino acid chains and nutrients that are in certain parts of an animal that aren't necessarily in just the fleshy portion. So if you just have steak all the time, you're having a really good quality kind of, grass-fed, grass-finished steak. You're having all of the great stuff that is in like the muscle tissue, but there are things in the organs. That's why I have organ meats as well, and things in like bone broth that you're not getting. So the quality of the collagen in this stuff is incredible. One of the best, well, the best bone broth company that I'm aware of, and I'm again very grateful. Thanks, Rob and the team. There's my next one. I'll get that down the hatch now. A couple more Endeavour calls. Got 2 more, so that's about another hour. And then on to my final bits of preparation to make sure that I'm ready and tip-top, as recovered as possible with the last couple of weeks of training, and ready to go for 24 hours of pushing a sled this coming weekend. I am back here again. Oh, foam rolling. I actually had a savage session yesterday, which was Wednesday night, which probably wasn't the best flipping prep for a world record. But now obviously lots of lower body stuff coming, lots of kind of single leg work, which is what I'm doing there, moving my pelvis around. So working on my ITBs, iliotibial band, so kind of the tendon band that runs down the outside of the leg. Do those for a couple of minutes. I'll work on my quads. I'll do hammies. I usually do I don't like doing kind of calves here. Calves and Achilles are super important for kind of sled work because your foot is basically like at this angle. But I think a ball is going to be a hell of a lot more helpful than doing it with a foam roller, in my humble opinion, and do a little bit of back work. So with sled work, normally, obviously, it's kind of done either super heavy or super quick. So people get a massive amount of lactic burn in their quads. This as a 24-hour event is going to be a lot different. And I think that people have kind of like underestimated the amount that it's going to hurt kind of the forefoot, digging the toes kind of down in that position. And also things like your shoulders and your traps and your neck from doing so much of kind of that for that amount of time. So it's kind of a quick bit of context as to how we're structuring it. I might have mentioned this earlier, I can't even remember. We're in teams of 4, so 3 teams of 4, it's a team of 12 total. And basically in our teams of 4, it's pushing it for 10 meters. And then we basically literally rotate round that way. So it'll be like kind of like a little feeder system. So someone will push it 10 meters and then kind of rest there. The other person will kind of push it back. And we are doing that for 2 hours consecutively. So it's 2 hours on, 4 hours off. So 4 hours is a long time off. I don't know if that's kind of too long actually. I mean, it would allow us to kind of get a little bit of sleep. But we might end up kind of a little bit cold. But this is what I'll do. I'll probably do this for about 20 minutes now. Just a little bit of foam rolling. Because as well as it being about 48 hours until I'm actually doing the attempt itself, we're also in the car for about 5 hours tomorrow. So lots of foam rolling, IT bands, quads, and back and kind of glutes. And then with the ball, making sure we do lots of calf and kind of like the underfoot stuff. So just making sure you find those pressure points. If you find a particular pressure point in your foot, the best thing you can do instead of moving it is just toes up, toes down. Danny is someone who hates feet, is loving this right now.
This is great.
About 20-30 minutes of that, and probably do a little bit more, kind of an extra kind of 5-10 minutes this evening, a little bit tomorrow morning, a little bit tomorrow evening, but just this kind of like twice a day on the run up. You just want to be kind of as limber and supple as possible, because if you've got a little bit of tightness, my kind of main concern is if you've got a little bit of asymmetry, so you're a little bit pulled on one side, if you then start a 24-hour event, that's going to kind of rear its ugly head a little bit. So I think just staying kind of nice and consistent with this stuff. 20 minutes now, 10 minutes later, and we'll see what else we are doing this evening. Boom, 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 boom. What's going on, team? Some people might be wondering why I'm always topless. For those of you that are overseas, you might believe that it's my ego. For those of you that live in England, you'll know that for some reason, even though our summers continue to get hotter, no houses have aircon, so we're just disgustingly warm all the time. So, my next biohack, my next little kind of key to recovery is the red lights. I'm very, very lucky that I have 2 of them right here from Care Lamps UK, and in regards to the benefits and how the flip of this stuff works, check this out now. Okay, so I can absolutely tell you how red light works because I wanted to make sure I got it right, and I'll read it to you now. So basically, this is a red and infrared light therapy panel, and again, 2 of those. So I basically just stack one on top of the other and kind of use it as a bit of a whole body thing. So in terms of infrared, so unlike ultraviolet light, which has damaging effects on the tissues and the cells of the body, we know that from kind of sunlight, etc. Infrared light cells regenerate or repair themselves, or help cells regenerate or repair themselves, sorry. Infrared light also improves the circulation of oxygen-rich blood in the body, promoting faster healing of deep tissues and relieving pain. And red light, which again you can kind of toggle either one or the other or both on the care lamp panels. Red light therapy is thought to work by acting on the power plant in your body cells called the mitochondria. With more energy, other cells can do their work more efficiently, such as repairing skin, boosting new cell growth, and enhancing skin rejuvenation. So again, it's kind of lots of scientific words there. I have had Achilles problems. So in terms of skin, in terms of like deep muscle belly stuff, I'm not really sure. But in terms of things like tendons and ligaments and connective tissues and fascia and skin, this thing is thought to, it's thought to work. I don't think the industry of red and infrared light therapy would be as big without decent backing. My good buddy Ben Simons, as many of you know if you've been following my channel for a while, he absolutely flipping raves about this, and he's the one who put me in touch with care lamps. And he says for his Achilles tendons, it's been incredible. So I don't use this as much anymore now, but on the week's run up I have been, the last couple of weeks actually I have been, but I try to spend about kind of 20 minutes a day. In terms of how bright they are, I will show you now, so I won't kind of make you wait. In front of me, boom. That is what they're like. And obviously the camera now, looking at you guys, this will not be doing it justice, but it's good, kind of get it in your eye. Don't just stare flipping directly at it, but get it in your eyes, get as much kind of exposure as you can. And one of the things I do is basically stand as close as possible. And then Achilles tendon wise, just have my Achilles and calves. I'll turn those off for you now, so you can see me normally. Basically I have my Achilles and calves kind of as close as possible. So I'm going to stand, I'm going to do about 15 minutes front, I'm going to do 15 minutes back, and basically if it helps by a 1/10 of 1%, again for 24 hours, I think anyone, especially if you're over 30, but generally anyone, is arrogant if they approach an incredibly long event without doing everything they can that might help. Like at the end of the day, it's like, oh yeah, even if it was a 50-50 chance that it might help, well, it's only going to take 30 minutes out of the day. I just flip and stand there. Who cares? Like it's not ruining my life. I'm not having to go anywhere. I've already got them in my office. So it just kind of makes sense to stack the deck in your favour and do all of these things. And I'll be honest, since I have been using it, my Achilles have felt a little bit better. So 15 minutes on the front, 15 minutes on the back. Next bands. So exercise in terms of training is pretty much off the table, but there are a couple of little like pre-habby exercises that I think could quite nicely tie in. One of them is working my hip flexors. Again, in terms of the amount of quad work, etc. Posterior chain's working to a point in terms of obviously glutes, and hip flexors are working a lot to kind of pull up, but making sure that they're primed and the core stabilizers are primed in that position can be super key. So one of the things I like to do is literally just kind of like loop it round my dumbbell, and that should be enough. And this works a little bit on tib anterior as well. So the fact that I kind of have the band more towards the top of my foot to hold my foot neutral, because obviously the band is putting resistance and it's wanting to pull down. So I'm having to work my tib anterior a little bit, boom, to pull up. And again, because I'm working my calves and my Achilles a lot, and my hip flexor is going to be working, but only really kind of, there's no real load on it from pushing a sled, because I'm not only pulling my knee up against the air as such. It's good to just do a little bit of weighted work. So what I like to do is just lie back, kind of stabilize with this leg, keep a little bit of pressure, kind of pushing my lower back into the ground, and then from there, you should just kind of engage, foot off the ground, and then pulling up. And again, you see kind of the hip flexor and the tib anterior are working. You don't need to do this explosively at all. This isn't training it as such. This is literally just kind of like prehab stuff. So literally just to kind of activate it. It's going to get everything kind of firing. It's going to get the movement patterns firing. So kind of 10, 12 on one leg. I'll do this probably just before the event itself as well, when we get there on Saturday. But just to make sure that my hip flexors are working kind of under control is good. Again, tib anterior, so the muscle on kind of the shin, which is the opposite of the calf, because the calf and the Achilles are going to be working a lot. And just putting up to about there, 10 to 12 each of those, boom, in the bag. And the last one, just as a little bit of knee rehab, to do some TKEs, for those of you that are not familiar, terminal knee extension. So what you do is you literally just kind of put a little bit of pressure on the band, step back a little bit further, kind of brace with that leg and then literally just extend. And it's just so good for kind of that final little bit of extension. It's like knee health. So I've just done some hip, like ankle health and hip health stuff. This is knee health. So again, there's not enough to really fatigue. These are the kind of things that like explosive athletes put in, like can introduce as supersets or even introduce as kind of a part of a warm-up. So again, kind of 10 to 12, you can do a couple of rounds of this, leave it kind of a few hours, but I think doing this stuff, TKEs, I'm not sure if I'll do on the day or not. Oh, snappy snap. But I know that I'll be doing the hip flexor work. So I think self-management, guys, is genuinely the most important bit of like a 24-hour event. It's not about how fit you are. This is why we did the deadlift world record, you know, however long ago, 3 years ago now. And with respect to the civvies that took part in it, they were fucking useless because it got to kind of middle of the night and A, sleep deprivation, they're not used to handling it, and B, they just don't know how to self-manage, they don't have to look after themselves. Like fuel, electrolytes, rest as much as you can, it's about energy conservation, and then just every now and again in your breaks, make sure you're doing a little bit of rolling out, doing a little bit of like isometric stuff for tendon health, just kind of pump the blood through a little bit. It's these tiny little self-management hacks. Obviously this is kind of, I'm 2 days before now, but it's just about making sure that the foundations are kind of as solid as possible, because 24 hours of sled pushing, like no one knows how to do that, but you stack the deck in your favor by ensuring that you do this kind of stuff. So some hip flexor and tib anterior work there with literally just putting your knee up, slight kind of pause at the top and down, like 10 each side on TKEs. I'll go around kind of 2-3 times. Can't hurt, can it? Boom! That is the day pretty much done. Literally last little bit, my last kind of recovery hack before my crazy event is magnesium spray. So magnesium as an oil is far more effectively absorbed through the skin than it is ingested. So basically that is to say that something like this, what's called transdermal absorption, so if you spray it on your arms, on your legs, all over your body, whatever, it is easier for your body absorbs it more effectively than it would do if you took it in a tablet and it had to take it out of the small intestine or something. So I'll be covering myself in this, and obviously that is going to be used throughout as well. In terms of what I'm actually going to do for self-management on the day, I will be vlogging that for you to ensure that you guys can see all the kind of the tips and tricks, and you know, hopefully they'll keep me stitched together as much as possible. But that basically kind of concludes what I've done 48 hours beforehand to make sure that I'm kind of as close to possible in tip-top shape. I hope you did enjoy this. Please do smash that like button. I will also link the description. No, I won't. I will link the Just Giving page, basically the fundraising page for, as we are raising money for the Royal Marines Association / the Royal Marines Charity, and 2 other ex-bootneck run charities that are helping people with their kind of their mental health and their kind of rehabilitation as such. 3 flipping unbelievably awesome causes, and obviously very, very close to my heart and the heart of a lot of you guys, as there's a strong kind of military presence in my channel. So please do smash that like button. I'll link that down in the description below. As always, stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will see you guys very, very soon.